Hello, everyone. Facebook Live. Great to see you. We're streaming live on Facebook. And we are here tonight for our 49th Pearl of Wisdom, which is going to focus on thought. And each week we meet on one of our 108 Pearls of Wisdom. Tonight we are on the 49th, the power of thought. Now, Mynoo is going to share the origin of thought and the intention, that's underlying this gift, so that you can use it to transform the quality of what she calls our aliveness. So very exciting to venture into thought tonight. Mynoo said, she was so blessed to receive this wisdom. So we chat a few minutes before we bring everybody on. And she was referring to herself as the conduit. And so what is so amazing to me is often Mynoo's prepared an outline, but so much of this is flowing right through to her and straight to us. So yes, I feel so fortunate to be on the receiving end of this. I'm very excited to hear more about thought. So welcome, Sarah, Linda, Kathleen, Sunny. I know we'll have a lot of people, Mary Catherine, joining us on Zoom, and of course, all of our Facebook Live viewers. So again, tonight, our 49th Pearl of Wisdom, which is thought. So Mynoo will be coming on board with us to give us an hour of her wisdom. And I love it because it is so fresh and it's such a unique perspective. It's not that we've never thought about these things, but there's always an aha moment for me. It's like those things that you didn't know. Of course, we know the things that we know we don't know, but then there's this whole host of what we didn't know. So I love that Mynoo gives us that gift each week. So great to see everyone. Thank you again for joining. And yes, I think we are ready to rock and roll. So hello, Mynoo. Great to see you.
Hi, Catherine. Yes, I'm looking forward to this. For us, it's already New Year's Eve. It's the start of New Year's Eve day. Lots of stuff happening around Dubai. It looks like a lot of the world has descended here. Very, very strict protocols are in place. And I'm looking forward to this fabulous, quite a surprising revelation about thought that I've been working with. Very excited to share with all of you. So let's begin.
Thank you. Thanks, Mynoo.
So, thought, the 7 keys to unlock the power of thought. The first one is really understanding thought itself. And where this inquiry into thought began for me was from a statement at my youngest sister. And the statement what it was as least is a very different perspective. This egolessness was more on the negative connotation of ego. So for me, I went into, okay, so if thoughtlessness leads to egolessness, well, what is the origin of thought? Why was thought created? Because ego, if you look at it from a soul perspective, soul has no ego. It's just a light of consciousness. So ego is birthed by us in a human form. A tree doesn't have an ego. It just is true to its nature. Dog doesn't have an ego, and it's true to its nature. Humans do. So then it was like, I get very logical about these things. So I go into, okay, if that's the case, then it's created by something that we have as humans, that other living beings don't have. So what do we have that other living beings don't have. That must be the one that gives rise to thought. And then ego comes in. And, what I could think of was intellect. First, I thought about the mind, but you've heard me talk about, the mind is all about survival. And really what mind is it's the intention of the mind is spatial awareness, so that this form, the physical form, can survive. That's the intention of the mind, spatial awareness, that's it. So everything has a mind equivalent. Every living thing has a mind equivalent, because the spatial awareness for the physical form to survive is necessary for anyone, any living being. Inanimate objects that are not living, they also have vibrations. They're also vibrating collection of molecules and atoms, but they don't require spatial awareness for their physical form to survive. So they don't have the mind equivalent, but we do, living beings do. So if mind is only about spatial awareness for this physical form to survive, then what thought is something distinct than the mind? It may be created by the mind, but it's not the mind itself. And what I got was that given the thought is unique to humans more than it is to other living beings, for them there is an observation and action, observation and action, observation and action. Thought brings in that meaning and discernment and all of that. So what gives rise to thought? And this is the first key to understanding what thought is, so that you can harness its power. What gives rise to thought is the intellect, which is unique to humans. An intellect is something that arises from a way in which our brain functionality, in the head brain functionality, is constructed. There's much more to it. I'm just giving you like not even one sentence, it's like a little hint there. So the intellect combined with the survival instinct and the spatial awareness functionality of the mind, the two together create thought. But what is the intention of thought? Nothing happens without a reason. And given that thought is so prevalent, then there has to be an intention. And that intention has to have something to do with why the soul chose to take this human form. So what I saw very clearly for myself was that the intention of the soul is to expand through a series of experiences. So the intention of thought is to create a set of beliefs. Because it is not a thought that gives us our experience of life, of living our life. It really is the beliefs that get generated. So the intention of thought is to create beliefs. And it is our beliefs that give us our experience of life. And our experience of living our life really is, the result of that is aliveness. So when you get that the intention of thought is to create beliefs, and it is these beliefs that give us our experience of arising from living our life, then you can unlock that door where you engage with what kind of experiences do I wish to experience? And work backwards from there and go into, okay, for me to be able to have these experiences, this is the belief that is going to enable me to have that. What is the thought that will enable me to have those beliefs? And you work, that's where you are able to then direct your thought. Now, when you align your thought to the intention of coming alive through your beliefs, then you are actually very actively engaged in it. And the egolessness automatically results because you are in the intention of expanding your array of experiences. And you're following through on that by proactively, consciously choosing the beliefs, the power of thought to achieve that. Knowing that thought arises, is birthed from a combination of mind, whose only role is to enhance and enrich your spatial awareness so that your physical form can survive, combined with the intellect that is very unique to you as a human. So once I understood this, then it was, okay, how do I work with this belief stuff then? And I went back and looked, this is where I did benefit of hindsight stuff and realized that I'd actually been implementing some of this understanding, not knowing it in such a clear construct. So at one point in my life, I chose that the next phase of my life is going to be about living my life, living an extraordinary life with ease, joy, and grace, where all aspects of my life coexist. And I really created that belief that that's what it is. I'm now in the next phase of my life, and it's going to be an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist with ease, joy, and grace. Now, that was not necessarily the case when I made that choice. And because I created that as a belief, how did that belief even arise? It arose from the thought of having made that a lot. You know, every moment I would engage with thinking about what is extraordinary about this experience. So really, how do you create your beliefs? They are a function of thought. If you wish to create a belief of any kind, you distill the thought that is going to enable that consequence to occur and just think it a lot. You know, life's tough. You think it a lot, life becomes tough. The pandemic is an opportunity like none other. And think it a lot, and you start seeing opportunities left, right, and center. The pandemic is a devastation. Think it a lot, and you start experiencing devastation. Now, we do have a situation where there are many thoughts that have been thought a lot over the years. and they exist in an energy signature on the planet. And so there are many clusters of such thoughts, and you can get caught in that whirlpool of those thoughts. But once you understand that your experience is generated by your thought, you can acknowledge that, okay, there is this thought that is going on out there, and still claim your own sovereignty over your world by choosing to create your belief. I mean, I completely believed that all aspects of life could not coexist, let alone never possible. So there's no point in even thinking about it. And yet, when I chose it, it actually didn't take very long. Within days, I was experiencing it. Within months, it was anchored. So I started going even beyond that. I at one point, I made a decision that wherever I live, I'm just going to have the most amazing view from my bedroom, from my bed even, right? But suddenly, my homes will have the most amazing views. And I just made that choice. Wasn't necessarily the case at the time. And it's like, wherever I was moving, I moved quite a lot when I went through my series of spiritual awakenings. I would go look for homes, and so this doesn't have a view, so I won't take it. And then after a while, I didn't even feel like I wanted to go around looking for homes. I just knew that I was going to get one, which would just have the perfect view. And it would be exactly the one that I'll go get. And that's exactly what has been happening. It's well over a decade now. It came from a belief. I mean, even in Dubai, which parts of it is so congested in terms of high rises, and I live in downtown, which has got so many high rises. Mostly, your views are of another high rise. And my view is not that. Yes, you do see high rises, and yet it's a direct view of the Burj Khalifa. And there's greens right down there, the only patches of green that exist in downtown Dubai. I didn't even go find it. My son came here, saw 27 apartments, and chose this one. So it literally is as easy as that. And that's why when I said keys to unlock the power of thought, well, we can't go into spinning in our thought and therefore spinning the yarn, the yarn of ego, and then getting caught up in that. And that's the ego yarn, if you like, is all about meaning. You're then stuck in meaning. And you get more and more disconnected from the fact, and you get even more disconnected from who you truly are, which is the ultimate foundation upon which your soul has chosen this human form. So the intention of thought is to create beliefs. It's beliefs that give you your experience of life. Choose a belief, think that thought, think it a lot, you have the experience that you wish to create. And it is a combination of mind, whose role is survival, and what it does is brings about that spatial awareness combined with the unique intellect that humans have been gifted with. And when you connect to the human form, amplifying frequency, and you've chosen a set of beliefs that become the intention that you are applying for experiencing aliveness, it gets amplified. Aliveness is amplified. And that's why it delivers so rapidly. The second key. Again, I don't edit any words that come through when I'm bringing forth this kind of wisdom. I work with it. And the phrase that came in was hone in, sharpen, or perfect over time. That's what we are doing with thought. So what you're doing here is you're honing in your intention that you wish to experience through how you choose to live your life. You're honing in actually your power of choice. So you can use thought to hone in, really sharpen and perfect over time, like I did. The next phase of my life is about living an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist with ease, joy, and grace. Thinking it a lot, making it a belief, you're already starting to hone in. And then starting to observe. Now, this is where the honing in, you can actually get very proactive about it by starting to literally choose what you see. Start to observe what you see that is in line with the belief that you are creating. The interesting thing is we put so much effort on experiences, creating experiences. Really, all you have to do is to choose the beliefs that the consequence of operating from that belief is the experience you wish to have. I always find so much to be grateful for. That's the belief. And you automatically find lots to be grateful for. You've got to work hard. Otherwise you're just going to suffer. All right. That's it. You just have to think that. You just have to believe that. The consequence matches the belief exactly. And how do you create a belief? It was so heartening for me to get that, belief isn't a given. It's just a function of thought. I just have to think it a lot. And I can change my belief. For me, before I chose the extraordinary life belief, it was about, you've got to create boundaries. There has to be a home life and work-life balance. Well, that was the biggest rocket fuel to the stress-filled life I had, desperately trying to create those boundaries and having a balance between, home life and work life. So I'm like balancing all the time. Hey, harmony. All aspects of life coexist with ease, joy, and grace. That's an extraordinary life. I'd never experienced it, didn't actually believe that was possible until I chose to declare and then honed in my thought and thought it a lot and then started honing it even further by observing what was occurring. And initially it was like, well, what does it even mean, all aspects of life? Originally it was just work and home. And then when I started observing, I received the gift of the full spectrum way of living our life. That came from unlocking the power of thought using the hone-in key. The third key is operative. Operative, it's interesting. It could be operational, and it wasn't. The phrase that came was operative. Operative is functioning or having an effect. Thought is operative. It's very, it gets into action. It has a direct impact on your beliefs. But if you are not plugged into the idea that it is your beliefs that give you your experience of life, and the belief is a consequence of thoughts that you think a lot, you land up buying into all sorts of beliefs that might exist. And your thoughts may be incongruent with that, but because you haven't intentionally honed them, then the shift in belief doesn't happen. And you very easily fall into the space of becoming a victim of many beliefs that have already been implanted by generations that have gone before us. You can't have your you can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, you can. That was an important phrase for the Second World War. My ex-mother-in-law shared with me that, in their street during the Second World War, they would have one cake would be baked each week. And just so that people felt a bit more buoyant about life, given that they were only eating whatever was available, a cake would be placed in the center of the table. Whenever anybody wanted to eat the cake, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. At the end of the week, it would get divided up across the houses in the street, and a new cake would be baked. But for that week, each day, each home had a cake on the table. It was just that, and it became a phrase and a belief, and has impacted so many lives. Don't share too much good news. It might go away. Yeah, okay, well, it can if that's what you want. So once you understand that a thought is operative, it's functioning and it has an effect, and it is your thought. And how is it operative? What effect does it have on your beliefs? So when you become intentional about what do I choose to experience, that's where you begin. What do I choose to experience in this life? And that is the experience as you define aliveness for you. And it can change from time to time. But whatever it is, you define that. And then you get clear about what your belief is. And then you can choose what thought you think. I didn't know what thought to think when I chose a belief of aliveness to think. So I just thought that belief. Oh, well, that's what I do now. Even though my experience wasn't matching that, I said, okay, given that that's what I do, there must be something in this experience right now that must match what I've chosen. And it did not take long for literally my life to be consistent with my beliefs. We can see it all around us. It is these beliefs that give us our experience of life, and it is your belief, really. When you take this on as an operative, thought as an operative, that's the operative key, you unlock the doorway where you are the one that is driving what effect your thoughts have. The fourth key is ubiquitous. A word I didn't even know what it meant. And there's so many pearls of wisdom have ubiquitous in it, where something's present everywhere at the same time. My God, we are in this thought, swimming around in this soup of thoughts. If everything that is ever declared has an energy signature, we really have got a minestrone of thought. So you may as well choose your ingredients, since you'll be in it anyway. you're also going to savor it. You're also going to be nourished by it or depleted by it or whatever it is. You may as well choose what goes in. And the keys that we are talking about literally direct you on how you make that choice. Starting from what is the experience. Now, when you begin by looking at, well, what experiences do I wish to amass in my life? You're actually plugging into your soul, because the soul only has one intention of choosing a human form. And many of you have heard me say that it only chooses one human form. It doesn't care about the shape of the human form or what gender it is or anything like that. It chooses one human form to have a set of experiences which combine intellect with mind. But it is all about experiences for the purposes of expansion. So when you start from experience, even if it may feel like non-kosher type experiences, you're actually plugging in an unconscious connection to your soul being. You're acknowledging your soul presence in this human form. So even if it begins with something non-kosher, which can happen, ultimately, if you follow through this process, it turns around and becomes something quite beautiful that does expand your soul presence in this human form. And that's a belief that I have. And that's the way I choose to operate. So understanding that the ubiquitousness of thought, where some thought or the other is present everywhere at the same time, you get intentional about directing yours so you can harness the power of thought to create the experiences you wish to create. So it feels very logical, feels like, yeah, quite sensible thing to do. But how do we do this practically? And, it's great that we are having this discussion today, because even in the last 3 days that I've understood this origin of thought, I mean, a lot of the other stuff, other keys I have implemented, but understanding the origin of thought, understanding the links, and working with it in a very concerted way as a matter of choice, it's transformed my experience of aliveness. You're going to hear me talk about aliveness because we have such a fabulous opportunity to live the purpose of our life in this lifetime. And there is only one purpose to every life, which is to come alive. We don't need a key to life. Life is a state. We've already have it. We are breathing, we have the state of life. There's nothing more to be done other than to live the purpose. The more you choose to apply that state of life to come alive, the stronger you become in terms of holding the exact resonance of the state of life that is perfect for you. So life is, if you're breathing, if you're even thinking it, you have it. That state exists. Nothing more to be done about it. It's all about choosing how you choose to live your life. And thoughts are an operative. Hone them. And as you hone them and work with your thoughts that give you your beliefs, they become ubiquitous. And you start experiencing the world that matches exactly what you have prescribed. It becomes a matter of your choice. It always has been, always is, and always will be. The fifth key to unlock the power of thought is summarize, is to gather. So, we do use this phrase, we're going to gather our thoughts around this. And it is a key, to unlock the power of thought. Yeah, you can garner your thoughts, hone them in the direction of the beliefs that you wish to create, to experience the experiences that you intend to amass. So for me, I've taken on is to have humans and humanity know that expecting and accepting miracles are the norm, and to know how to do it for themselves, live in that experience for themselves. So given that that's what I've taken on, I started garnering every little nuance of what I observed as I chose to live my life, where I could see unequivocal evidence that truly, expecting and accepting miracles are the norm of what miracle actually means. Something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. I made conscious effort to understand, what is this heart? Yeah, it's a physical object that is essential for the body, but what has that got to do with an experience of miracles? And what is the song of the heart? And okay, the beating of the heart is a song of the heart because it's celebrating life. The state of life is being rejoiced by the heart, and it expresses that rejoicing through beating. It truly is a song of rejoicing. And then when you're like, oh, wow, it is rejoicing. What is it rejoicing about? There's so many things that are making it rejoice. And I started applying Ghana as an approach to factual observations of that which gives me joy, that which gives me, and accentuates my experience of gratitude. All of those things make my heart sing. And sure enough, in no time at all, miracles became the norm, and they continue to be so. Now, applying the power of Ghana to thought, especially when you do it in this way, where you engage with what are the experiences you that you are intending to have, and work backwards from that to arrive at the beliefs, and you start garnering all the different thoughts that further accentuate that belief. The experiences are the result. So, you can literally just be the garnerer, the gatherer. You don't have to hunt for anything. It's all there. The sixth key to harness the power of thought. For me, it's an odd one. It's hopeful. As many of you know, what I talk about when it comes to hope, it's an odd one in that respect. So hope for me is, that it has an undertone which is a question about, and it's an understated question, which is like a bubbling of anxiousness. What if it doesn't work? Let's hope for the best. It is not belief. It's a hope which questions whether or not what you're hoping for actually occurs. I hope to live an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist with ease, grace, and joy. Or I expect to live a life, an extraordinary life, where all aspects of my life coexist with ease, grace, and joy. That's just so. And very soon, expect dropped, and I was living an extraordinary life. If I was hoping to live an extraordinary life, there would always be some lingering ickiness about what if it doesn't happen. So I would keep my foot in two camps. One was the old camp, boundaries, all that. And the other one was, having a go with this extraordinary life stuff, hoping that it'll happen. And once it starts to happen, I'll move there. I did do that for a period of time until it was like, I'm actually not in the extraordinary life camp. I'm in boundaries, stress-filled camp, hoping. So hopeful key is an interesting one. What it did for me when I engaged with this is it got me to look at where am I operating from hope versus where am I operating from a belief that I have created. A hope is you're still in the thought land, but haven't quite honed in what is that thought directed towards. Once you've chosen the experience you wish to have, you're clear about the belief arising from that. You just think that a lot. That belief becomes a reality. The experience becomes a reality. The divine has my back. I hope the divine has my back. Very different experience. It is your choice. My invitation would be that chooses what kind of experience you wish to have. And it is you that can create the belief that enables you to have that experience. And now you have the key to garner the different thoughts and think those a lot that generate this belief. And that's it. The consequence of experience is there. Whilst you're in the hope land, the experience is not real. It's not a belief yet. And it will be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 3 steps back. It'll be like that. And you will land up experiencing the splits experience. And that splits experience can be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, environmental. It's not pleasant. It doesn't have to be this way. You make a choice, get emphatic, create the belief, experience results, and garner your thoughts around the belief. So when it comes to hope, when you open the key, the hope key of thought, you understand the fullness of the impact of operating from hope versus operating from belief. And it's an important lay of the land to engage in from time to time. Hope for the best. You're just hiding behind not claiming your power to define what best means. And converting that into your beliefs. And then moving forward with realizing that through garnering your thoughts and thinking those a lot. This is a really great, this is like the spring clean equivalent, the hopeful lay of the land assessment, where am I operating from hope versus where am I operating from belief? If you feel any area of your life, the experience isn't the way you expect it to be, well, maybe there's some hope stuff going on there. I hope I stick to this diet. I hope I'm able to stick to this diet. Absolutely, I will not be able to stick to that diet. Because I'm in hope land. It is fun, by the way. I mean, the realization initially was, it almost felt like, it's not kosher to say, drop hope, get real, make an empowered choice. It just felt that way. And yet when I looked at the facts, where I was operating from belief, that's why I did the lay of the land. What experiences am I currently having in my life? Okay, right. What would I like to have? Okay, what's missing? This is missing. Now let's look, where am I operating from hope? Where am I operating from belief? And all I needed to do was tweak the beliefs a little bit. And everything that I was hoping for became reality. And the seventh key is tantalizing. A promise of something that's unobtainable. And I love this key. This key of harnessing the power of thought to obtain something that is, unobtainable is pretty cool. And promise will do. It's one of the nuggets that I would like to do at some point. Promise itself, it's quite a big one. A promise of something that's unobtainable. That's what that's the door that gets unlocked with this key of tantalizing. It is truly tantalizing. So when I took this on, and here I was really doing a lot of benefit of hindsight, and the last 4 days I've been working with actually proactively implementing it. It doesn't take that long, really. Once you get the hang of this stuff, you can within minutes you will see each of these keys opening a new doorway, and the moment that doorway opens, a cellular memory is created, and that's it. You can always return to that posture, like in yoga or Pilates, once the cellular memory is there. So a promise of something that's unobtainable. Well, what if you really went into a space, and given that I'm saying to you, it is your beliefs that give you your experience of life, and you create a belief by a thought that you think a lot, and the experience of life is the consequence. Your mind doesn't come in the way. The mind is only there to create spatial awareness so that your human form survives as you garner them around the belief that you wish to have. And your experiences that arise from that belief are a given. you can actually go on this tantalizing journey. What are the experiences I wish to have that I believe are unobtainable? That is exactly what I did when I chose, I want to live an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist with ease, grace, and joy. It was unobtainable. Wherever I travel in the world, I have a room with a view, and my home has got a fabulous vista. Well, it felt unobtainable because I loved living in cities. Even in Bali, I could have lived anywhere, and I chose to live in Ubud, which is like the city equivalent in Bali. And I had a great home with a view. Thank you, Catherine, for introducing me to that home. So have fun with this one, actually. Really have fun with this one. We've got the holiday period. You're coming up to New Year's Eve. We are in the year of rejoicing. Let's make it a tantalizing one, using the power of our thought. And truly have fun with it. A promise of something that is unobtainable. Let's make that to ourselves. And again, I love doing these things in a full spectrum way. So I look at it physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and environmentally. Playing with it. And when I say playing with it, this is where, the game philosophy becomes really important. When you play with it, there's a lightness of being, but play also suggests that you're in a game. A game has an intention, which is your game of aliveness has an intention, which is aliveness. And then that aliveness will have different nuances depending on what type of experiences you wish to have that make up your aliveness. And you work backwards from there. Make at least some of them tantalizing. Something that's unobtainable. We have a few minutes, Catherine, and I felt that we should open it up for any questions or observations that people might have, because it's something that is truly ubiquitous. It happens all the time. We are in the minestrone soup of thought. So people may have some observations and questions. I'm open to those.
If anyone has any questions, pop those in the chat. I don't know about you guys, but it felt like layers. This pearl of wisdom was like layers of a delicious cake. I was like, I'm at my own party and I have this delicious cake here, and there's 7 layers, and these are all these amazing keys, and just starting to understand really what aliveness is. Somehow tonight, you really brought that forth for me, this unbelievable way of the keys that unlock the power of thought. So I know, though, I still have some of those questions in my mind. I think it takes a while and it takes some time to play with this. So anyone has any questions, tonight is your night. So, the power that you've just given us, it's always been there. You're just reminding us that we have the power to create the experiences we want and to create the life, to live the purpose of our life. So it's just so exciting to know we have some homework to do to make sure with 2022 right upon us. What a great night to have this pearl of wisdom. So anyone, Vince says, so simple yet requires constant consciousness. On the money, Vince. Absolutely. That's the key. That's another key, right? The awareness.
That's what I think the ubiquitous one is a big one for me to realize. It's there all around us all the time, everywhere. Let's just get conscious and work it.
Okay.
So,
other questions? Anybody have that burning question? We've got this last chance in 2021. Just remember that there won't be another chance in 2021. We are off to 2022. Can't wait. Going to be an exciting one. Okay, we have a question. Something strange happens in our daily life routine, which we do not want or ask. is this due to our thoughts? What a great question.
Something strange happens in our daily life which we do not want. Is this due to our thoughts? It's, something happens that we don't want. Okay, it happens. How you react and respond to that is what is driven by your beliefs, which really are a function of your thoughts. So lots of stuff happens that we don't want. Think about it. And there are some that we are impacted by, and there are others which, we don't want it, but it doesn't really do anything to us. So that's worth knowing, that how you choose to respond versus react is a function of your beliefs, which actually are a function of the thoughts.
Oh, I love that, Mynoo. That's just such a great perspective. Also, we had another great awareness that came in from David and Helene. This is a great path to manifesting every type of prosperity. And I think, again, like going into 2022, I always use the word abundance. And this was such an abundant pearl of wisdom, It's just so rich and full, the 7-layer cake. Okay, yes, that was brilliant perspective there. Anybody else? We have about 3 minutes left. One last question. Anybody have anything? Just pop it in the chat and we will get that to me.
Use this understanding while you're thinking of, if you do have a question, use this understanding and really work with this thought part, because it's just occurring all the time. And if you're not thinking, you're in this, like I said, a minestrone soup of everybody else's thoughts. Use this holiday period as a way of really becoming aware of this and working with these 7 keys, We've got a few days left, divide it up. Okay, I'm going to unlock the power of thought with the tantalizing key for the next 3 hours and see what happens. Get proactive. Really use this time, because we are in the year of rejoicing. This is truly the turning point. Whether you like it or not, the past is gone. It's gone. You can be attached to it. There are no anchors left. So this is an opportunity like none other to transform your world through the choices of your beliefs that you create for yourself. Use it. Use it, because there are no anchors for stuff that is related to the past, even though it may seem like it exists. You can shift it for you. And each one of us choosing, coming from that connection to our soul, we actually together very rapidly will transform the world into this beautiful place, which is colorful, divinely guided, has a lightness of being, wonderful, and miraculous. It begins with you and occurs as a natural consequence. Use the power of thought. With that, I declare our session complete. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great celebration, and I will see you all in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone. Happy New Year. So nice to see everyone.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you in 2022 for our 50th Pearl of Wisdom.
Happy New Year. We love you all.
Love you all too. Thank you. Thank you.